He was a ghost. That's the best way to put it. By 1969, Elvis Presley was a ghost haunting his own life. The world had moved on. It had moved on in a big, loud, messy way. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, Woodstock, Vietnam, A Man on the Moon. The 60s had been a cultural earthquake, and Elvis had spent it on a movie set in Hollywood, singing to girls in bikinis, and, in one famous case, a bull. He made a lot of money, he sold a lot of records, mostly soundtracks to those movies. But he wasn't part of the conversation anymore. He was a joke to the cool kids. A piece of nostalgia for their parents. He was the king of a kingdom that no longer existed. He was 34 years old, and he was already a relic. He knew it. You could see it in his eyes in photos from that time. A sadness, a boredom, a man trapped in a golden cage, singing songs he hated for movies he knew were bad. Then came the change. A spark. It was a television special in 1968. The plan was for him to sing Christmas songs in a sweater. A safe, boring, family-friendly affair. But Elvis, for the first time in years, said no. He pushed back, he wanted to do something real. What emerged was a blast of raw, coiled energy. Dressed head to toe in black leather, he looked dangerous again. He snarled. So he sweated. He played guitar like he was trying to break it. He sat in a small circle with his old bandmates and just jammed, telling stories and laughing. It was intimate and it was ferocious. He reminded everyone, and maybe himself, who he was. Not the movie star, the musician, the force of nature that had changed the world in the first place. The TV special was a massive success. It put him back on the map, but it also raised the stakes. Now what? You can't just go back to making movies after a statement like that. The next move had to be bigger. It had to be live. The offer came from Las Vegas, the International Hotel, a brand new, colossal monument to 70s excess. They wanted him for a residency. A month of shows, 2 a night. It was a huge gamble. For everyone, Vegas in 1969 was not a cool place for a rock and roller. It was where the old guard went to die. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack. It was tuxedos and cocktails and polite applause. It was the establishment. For Elvis, the ultimate rebel, to go to Vegas felt like a surrender. It felt like he was admitting he was an oldies act. The press thought so. The critics were sharpening their knives. The audience was a problem too. This wasn't going to be a theater full of screaming teenagers like in the 50s. This was a Vegas showroom, a dinner club. These were high rollers, tourists from the Midwest, couples on their anniversary. They were older, they were sober, at least at the start of the show, and they were skeptical. They had paid a lot of money for a ticket and a steak dinner. They were sitting there with their arms crossed. The unspoken vibe in the room was simple. Okay, movie boy, show us what you've got, impress us. It was a hostile crowd. Not hostile in the sense that they were going to throw things. Of hostile in their indifference. Hostile in their low expectations. They were there to see a museum piece. They were expecting the guy in the gold suit singing Hound Dog like it was 1956. A nostalgia trip. A comfortable, safe night out before hitting the blackjack tables. The last thing they expected was a musical revolution, so the night comes. July 31st, 1969, the opening night. The pressure is immense. The biggest names in Hollywood are in the audience. Cary Grant, Sammy Davis Jr., Tom Jones. His father Vernon is there, his wife Priscilla is there. The air in the showroom is thick. It's electric with doubt. The house lights go down. A massive orchestra, bigger than any rock band would dare to use, starts to play. The sound is huge, dramatic, almost classical. It's the theme from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. It builds and builds, a fanfare for a king's coronation or a public execution. The tension is almost unbearable. Then, the drums kick in, not a gentle shuffle. A powerful, driving machine gun fill from a drummer named Ronnie Tutt. It's a declaration of war. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's not Vegas music, it's rock and roll. The band slams in behind him. A thumping bass line, a sharp, stinging guitar riff from the legendary James Burton. And then the horns, a powerful, brassy blast. It's a wall of sound, a physical force that hits the audience in the chest. And then he walks on stage, no gold suit. He's in a black two-piece outfit that looks like a stylized karate uniform. He looks trim, he looks focused, he looks like a panther, he grabs the microphone, and before the audience can even fully register what's happening, he leans into it and sings. The first line is a challenge. It's a bluesy, soulful wail. Oh, see! He holds the note, letting it hang in the air. The band is churning behind him, a relentless rhythm. He's not smiling, he's not trying to be charming. He's staring out at the sea of faces, his gaze intense. He's not asking for their love. He's commanding their attention. And he sings the next line, pointing a finger almost accusingly at the entire room. "See what you have done." In that moment, everything changed. The entire dynamic of the room shifted. This wasn't nostalgia. This wasn't the goofy movie star. This was something else entirely. This was raw. This was powerful. This was now. The song itself was a masterstroke of strategy. It wasn't one of his big famous hits. It wasn't Heartbreak Hotel or Jailhouse Rock. Choosing one of those would have been an admission that he was a nostalgia act, that his best days were behind him. Instead, he chose a blues standard, a traditional song that had been around for decades, recorded by artists like Ma Rainey and Big Bill Broonzy. By opening with a blues song, he was making a profound statement. He was reconnecting with his roots. He was reminding people where his music came from. It came from the dirt. It came from the poor South. It came from black musicians whose work he had loved and absorbed his whole life. It was a history lesson delivered at 100 miles an hour. He was saying, before the Beatles, before the Stones, before all of it, there was this, and I was there. It was an act of reclaiming his own legacy. The performance was pure energy. He wasn't just standing there singing, he was in constant motion. He kicked, he lunged, he crouched down, then sprang up. He used the stage like a prize fighter uses the ring. Every move was sharp, precise, and powerful. The famous karate moves weren't just for show, they were a physical manifestation of the music's aggression. He was attacking the song. He was attacking the audience's complacency. The band was a critical part of this assault. This was no small combo, it was a rock band fused with a Vegas orchestra. Ronnie Tutt's drumming was the engine, powerful and complex. James Burton's guitar playing was sharp and clean, weaving intricate lines around the melody. Jerry Sheff's bass was a locomotive, driving the rhythm forward relentlessly. And the horns and strings added a layer of epic grandeur. It was rock and roll dressed in a tuxedo, but with brass knuckles hidden in the pocket. You have to imagine what it felt like to be in that room. You came expecting a trip down memory lane. You came expecting blue suede shoes and a few charming winks. Instead, you get this sonic boom. This visceral, high-energy performance that is completely of the moment. The sound is massive, the energy is off the charts, and the man at the center of it all is a magnetic, dangerous presence. Those first 3 minutes were a shock to the system. The crossed arms in the audience started to unfold. The skeptical looks turned into wide-eyed astonishment. People who had come to politely applaud a legend found themselves caught up in something primal and exciting. He didn't ease them into the show. He didn't warm them up. He kicked the door down from the very first note. The choice of that specific song was everything. It set the tone for the entire show and for the next chapter of his career. It established the rules of engagement for the night. Rule 1, this is not going to be what you expect. Rule 2, I am in complete control. Rule 3, forget the movies, remember the music. By starting with a piece of raw, authentic blues, he bypassed the entire silly Hollywood chapter of his life and drew a straight line back to his revolutionary beginnings at Sun Records. But he wasn't just recreating the past, he was reinterpreting it. He took this old blues standard and supercharged it with a modern, powerful band and a spectacular new arrangement. He was showing them he could honor his roots while still being a contemporary artist. He wasn't stuck in the past, he was building on it. After that explosive opening, he had them. The hostility, the skepticism, it was all gone. It had been blown away by the sheer force of the performance. He had seized the audience by the throat and told them, in no uncertain terms, that he was still the king. The rest of the show was a victory lap. He could sing the old hits now, and they sounded fresh and vital. He could sing his new material, and the audience was eager to hear it. He could joke with the crowd, and they would hang on his every word. He had won the battle in the first round. He knew it worked. He knew it was the perfect opening statement. That song became his opening number for hundreds of shows for years to come. It was his call to arms. The moment the orchestra played the intro, the moment the drums crashed in, the audience knew what was coming. It was the signal that the night was about to begin and that they were in for something special. It became his theme song, the announcement of his arrival. That opening night in Vegas was more than just a concert. It was a resurrection. And it started with one song. A song that wasn't even his, but one he made completely his own. A song that served as a bridge between his past and his future. A song that was a defiant, powerful, and undeniable statement. He didn't win over that hostile Vegas audience by pandering to them. He didn't win them over by playing it safe. He won them over by grabbing them, shaking them, and reminding them with overwhelming force just who the hell he was. And he did it all in the first 3 minutes with a blues song that had been waiting for him his whole life. The song was C.C. Rider,